What if the journey is more important than the outcome? My name is Ross, and I help men in their 30s and 40s rediscover their direction and have the confidence to express themselves into the world so that they feel strong and capable to build the life they've always dreamed of. So recently, I've been thinking about how much time I spend focusing on my goals and never really enjoying the process of doing what I'm doing. You know, there's always like an end game. I'm always wanting to get to the end of something in order to feel good, right? In order to feel like I've achieved something. And I began to wonder what it is that I'm trying to avoid and what it is that exactly that is causing so much pain for me. And at present, the most prominent place that this is affecting me is producing content for this channel. So I often fear that I will not be able to create anything and will fail to continue creating these videos. And this usually ends up with me producing virtually nothing and then doing a last minute video to try and get things going so I can get the result that I so badly desire. And as I was sat thinking the other day, I thought about an experience that I had at school of being sat in class and listening to the teacher as he told us what to do for this particular exercise that we were all supposed to be doing. And as I sat there, I felt really quite confused. He'd finished and I had no idea what I was supposed to do. And, I felt quite sort of afraid at that point. I was like, oh, gee, I don't know what to do. And I was really kind of scared. But I put my hand up anyway, and he came over and then he started explaining things to me again. And it was just like a total blank. I just couldn't understand what he was saying. And he said, do you understand? And I said, no, I don't understand. And with that, he walked off and started muttering frustratedly. And I just felt completely alone. I felt completely alone and I just didn't know what to do. And so I sat there and I read the questions, I read the paper repeatedly over and over and over again. And in the end, I just gave up. I couldn't understand it. I was just like, I can't understand this. And I sat there and I was just in a complete state of despair. I felt so ashamed because, I felt like all the other kids in class could understand what they had to do, but I was like a blank slate. I really didn't understand. So I just sat there for the rest of the lesson and was just staring into space. And, that really kind of outlined something with my experience of learning that has stayed with me for quite a long time. It's something that bothers me whilst I produce content. It continually is something that is always present, and it's this level of anxiety. It's this trying to sort things out. Like, for example, I've been here and I've been sort of writing this week's content and kind of feeling like it's not a blank slate as such, but it's, I'm writing stuff down and then it's feeling like I can't finish it because I don't really know what to put next. So there's an interesting thing that's also been happening, and especially with this week's content. And the interesting thing is that I'm starting to experiment with letting these emotions of anxiety, fear, and in a sense of like terror, I think. I've started to experiment with letting those emotions go. And what I'm experiencing with that is that there is I've been a couple of small windows of a state of flow with writing. So Whereas before I felt I had to concentrate on every single word, continually read through again and again, and constantly be making amendments to what I was doing. This particular piece of content felt like it was sort of flowing out of me in a sense, and it's hard for me to define, but there's this sense of not really thinking about anything at all. And then I start writing, and then things start to sort of come together. I start to write a paragraph or something like that. And then the words come out and it begins to take form. And then I, in a sense, have at least maybe the start or the introduction or whatever. Now, since then, I've kind of been messing around with it. I've been trying to make it perfect. The perfectionist comes in. And I wouldn't say I've completely messed it up, but it hasn't been a very easy process. So in that sense, I've kind of cluttered it with things that would normally bother me, would normally make things rather difficult. So I guess in a sense it is a sort of a work in progress for me. And those experiences for me continually come up, and they come up in the form of emotions. And those emotions are what tend to stop you from doing what you've set out to do, or they also stop you from enjoying what you do, right? So because in a sense there is a danger to doing this. The danger is that I fail and I'm not able to complete or do the content that I set out to do because I haven't been able to write the script, for example, or what I'm going to say. So I think what I'm really trying to say is that, in a sense, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere fast. And there's parts of this that are not very pleasant to experience, but at the same time, I think it's more about, rather than pushing yourself into eventual failure, it's more about being able to sit with the emotions and the feelings that you're having. And sometimes maybe you get up, and sometimes maybe you don't. Sometimes maybe you do something else. Maybe you go for a walk. It's another thing that I found is really, really good for this, is to get up and walk around and start doing things. Kind of break up the pattern that is prominent in you whilst you're in that phase where you are in an old pattern, so to speak. So where do you struggle with creativity? Do you constantly find yourself struggling with doing things and actually enjoying what you're doing? Do you always focus on the end goal? Just let me know in the comments section below. Maybe we can start a conversation, and and don't forget to like and subscribe if you like my content. Take it easy, guys, and I'll speak to you very soon.